In this video, I want to talk about how you form a contract. Now, a contract is a legally binding agreement which consists in four elements. There needs to be offer, acceptance, consideration, and intention to create a legal relationship. Now, although you can form an oral contract, there's risks associated with this, and failing to put the evidence in writing is probably a failure for you. Now, a forming of a contract can be quite easily and can exist instantly, i.e. it's like buying a cup of coffee. Alternatively, there needs to be a long negotiation period, and this will end up in an end contract. Now, in terms of offer is a promise to enter into a contract. It needs to be specific, complete, capable of acceptance, and intended to be bound by that acceptance. It can be expressed or implied, and offers can be terminated prior to acceptance, either by lapse, withdrawal, reflection, death, failure, or condition precedent. Now, acceptance is an offer which must be accepted to create that contract. It is final and unqualified, and there should be no variation to any previous offer or terms. It must be communicated in writing or conduct, and both without seeking to make change. That is a counter offer if you seek to make change. Intention to create a legal relationship means that the parties must intend to actually create a legally binding agreement, which is presumed in commercial dealings. This can be done without any express wording, i.e. subject to contract or heads of terms, letter of intent, or memorandum of understanding. These all prohibit that intention. In seeking to have your restaurant, bar or cafe fitted out, you'll need to enter into a contract via this process of offer, acceptance, consideration and intention. In seeking to receive offers, or tenders as more commonly known through the construction side, it's important to consider your formation of that contract. We would suggest that a formal form of building contract, such as the JCT suite, is used for your purposes. These contracts are industry standard forms and are simple in their completion. We would recommend that they're best left unaltered in terms of their terms, because this is proven and has legal binding significance from previous contract dispute. Check whether your standard form of contract under consideration is appropriate for the procurement method to be adopted, and that its provisions contain all that are likely to prove adequate for your particular circumstances. Now, JCT contracts are intended to be read as a whole, and ill-conceived amendments can produce unintended results. Now, we would refrain away from any ad hoc amendments, as we believe these should be avoided. Where any amendment is considered necessary, it should be done with an appropriate professional advice, usually through your solicitor or maybe your surveyor consultant. Now, JCT contracts are intended to be and are generally accepted as being fair and evenly balanced between the parties. Experience has brought us to draft a proposed form of contract at the time of going to tender. By doing this, it sets out the terms of the actual proposed contract at the time that the contractor is making his offer and submitting their prices. All their prices, therefore, are deemed to be inclusive of the contractual terms that have been suggested. When the form of contract is with the tender, unless qualified, then the terms are deemed to have been accepted. With acceptance of the offer, and in consideration being made by the client in terms of making payment, this is said to have formed a contract in performance. And so, even though the contracts are unsigned, if we've had offer, acceptance and consideration with an intention to enter into contract, then the contract is said to be performed in performance. We talked about contract and how contract can be formed. This should have answered all your questions in this respect, but you can always contact me by email, through my website, or through my LinkedIn profile if you'd like to discuss some more.